In today's lesson, there's nothing really new. We're just going to take our information that we learned on day 1 and day 2 and just look at our more difficult questions to be sure that we have full understanding. So in example A, here, we're going to start to solve this one first. So I see that I have fractions, but all of my bases are the same, so nothing changes. When my bases are the same, I still add my exponents when they're being multiplied together. So I'm going to leave my top fraction the same. And then on my bottom fraction, I know I need common denominators. So what I have there is 4/12 and then x times 3/12. To save myself some time, I may realize, well, I'm going to have to subtract them afterwards. Maybe I'll make all of my denominators the same right away. So on the top, if I want that to be a common denominator of 12 as well, I'm going to have 30/12. So now that all of my denominators are the same, I'll do an extra step here just to be sure that we're clear. You don't necessarily need this step. On the bottom, that's going to be 7/12. And now to finish up, I need to subtract my exponents. 30 minus 7 is 23/12. Now I check to see whether I can reduce that fraction, that 23/12, but I can't, so that is done there. All right, here let's look at example B. First of all, I realize that there's a 1 here. Let's not forget that. So when the bases are the same in its division, I subtract my exponents. So 5 minus 1 equals 4. For my bases of 64, I have 2/3 minus 1. So here, that has a base of 64. So 2/3 minus 1, common denominator, is 3/3. So what I have here is 64 to the negative 1/3. I know I need to take the reciprocal of that and make it positive. So I have 64 to the 1/3. And from yesterday, I realized that the 1/3 is also the root. So I have x to the power of 4 all over the cubed root of 64, which gives me a final answer of x to the power of 4/4. And the reason being because 4 times 4 times 4 equals 64. A number multiplied by itself 3 times, the cubed root. So get rid of that rough work there. So there's your final answer. Our last question here, I see that I have coefficients with no exponents, so I can just multiply those. Just so you can see that we're clear here. And when it's all multiplication, that's just 2 times 9 times x to the 5/2 times x to the 3/4. So your order doesn't matter if it's all multiplication. You can change it. Here, I have power to a power. So the first thing I need to do is remember that that 4 is to the 3/2. And x, 3 times 3 is 9, all over 2. So now we can start to simplify. 2 times 9 equals 18. And here I need to go 10/4 so that I have common denominators, 3/4. Here I have the square root of 4 to the power of 3. The denominator is always the root. The numerator is the exponent. And x to the 9/2. Again, here I realize, well, I'm going to need common denominators of 4. So I'm just going to get that out of the way now to save myself a step. So here I'm going to do 18/4. So I have 18 x to the 13/4 all over, the square root of 4 is 2. 2 to the power of 3 equals 8. And I have x to the 18/4. We'll go this way just for space. I'm going to reduce my fraction. 2 goes into 18 9 times. It also goes into 8 4 times. 13/4 minus 18/4. I have x to the negative 5/4. And I can never have a negative exponent, so my very last line is 9/4 x to the 5/4, just to make that exponent positive. That's it for this lesson. Practice questions tomorrow.